Bitcoin continues to show weakness and altcoins are unfortunately suffering because of it. In this video, we're going to talk about why Bitcoin's getting crushed right now, why altcoins are feeling that pain, and if you should really be concerned about this, or put differently, is the altcoin season over? Guys, we got a lot to talk about. A lot happened today, so let's just jump right into it. I want to respect your guys' time. Bitcoin getting a little bit of a bounce here tonight as I'm filming this. Earlier today, it was a little rough. We hit roughly 91.2, 91.3. We had a wick down to this channel. We've been following this channel for quite a bit. So we're kind of just bouncing, right in between 99,000 and 91,000, or put differently, between 90 and 100 grand. I got a couple different indicators on, so I'll kind of clean this up just so we can look at a couple different things. Yes, we are continuing to stay above the bull market support band. This continues to rise. I don't think we're going to have a retest of the bull market support band. And obviously you can see this blue line here. This is our 200-day moving average. So we're respecting both of these two averages, which is bullish. The tough thing is when we go ahead and look at the 50-day moving average, we're actually below that. So I'm hoping that this is something that we can recapture within the next few days. But ultimately, we've got a kind of some big catalysts or big things that are happening tomorrow, and that's being the unemployment data. So that gets released tomorrow. Obviously, you guys subscribe to me because you guys want fast, reliable information. I'm going to be following it both on Twitter and YouTube. So stay tuned for that. But the market is going to respond to what that unemployment data shows. If we take a look at the general crypto market, a lot of red out here. Rune, I think this is a great project. I know it's kind of getting beat down right now. Sol's only down a couple percent. With a lot of other meme coins really getting hit. A couple of the AI plays seem to be getting hit hard as well. Litecoin, it's in the green today. I suspect this is probably because there's rumors that an ETF might be coming out later this year. But it's tough to say, right? This is on the daily chart. If we looked at crypto on the whole, I really like looking at this 7-day chart to get a little bit more perspective. So Bitcoin is getting a nice little bounce back here. Like I said earlier today, if we go to the 4-hour chart, we actually touched 91,000 and alts were looking much, much worse. If we look here, the 7-day, Bitcoin's only down 3.5%. And I'm showing you this because I'm really trying to build a thesis that we're not in panic mode. This is actually, in all things considered, a pretty mild or tempered pullback. I'm not super overly concerned, and we're going to go through a lot of different things so I can kind of support that thesis to you. Hopefully by the end of the video, you'll be able to form your own opinion on it and leave this video, this 10-minute video, feeling a little bit more reassured. Solana was down over 10% for the week earlier today. And as you go down, right, more altcoins showing more weakness, right? Pepe, arguably the biggest meme, right? This cycle, it's down 15% for the entire week. I'm actually going to be making my top 7 meme coins for 2025. So if you guys are looking forward to that, let me know down in the comments. Give me a comment of meme. A couple other projects down really bad. Phantom somewhere in here, now known as Sonic. They had a pretty tough day. I think that's a oversold token, and I think that could be a pretty good play moving forward. Virtuals down 27% for the week. So this is one of the biggest AI agent plays out there. I think this one is going to see a nice bounce back. All right, this is tough, with this quick pull down. Over $1 billion have been liquidated over the past 3 days, and specifically longs. There was $300 million of shorts that were liquidated. And what that tells me is there's actually some market manipulation, right? The market makers are flushing out all of this excess liquidity, trying to grab as much quote unquote free money as they can before Trump takes office on the 20th, right? So today's the 19th. We have less than 2 weeks. We're kind of starting to realize things are going to be better relatively shortly. We just need to weather this storm right now. Okay, so you're probably asking yourself, like, where's all this bad price action coming down, right? Because just last week, like literally less than a week ago, we were at 102,000. Where is all this FUD coming from? Well, the main source of the FUD is a federal judge cleared that the U.S. government can sell 70,000, roughly 70, 69, 370 Bitcoin worth $6.5 billion that was originally seized from the Silk Road. And that was probably close to 10 years ago. Here's the thing with this. I see this floating around everyone on Twitter. Everyone's freaking out. Okay, is the US government going to sell their Bitcoin? The short answer is they have not sold their Bitcoin yet. The other part that not a lot of people are talking about is it would be very tough to sell 69,000 Bitcoin. It would have to be done in an over-the-counter trade, right? So probably not done through a traditional centralized exchange or SEX. It would have to be over-the-counter. It's pretty tough to move 69,000 Bitcoin. It would likely take over 2 or 3 weeks to do that. And guess what? Trump's taking office January 20th. He already promised Americans that he's creating a Bitcoin strategic reserve and will never be selling US held Bitcoin. So I'm actually not too worried about it. The other thing that a lot of people are talking about is this is old news. This came out, this judge ruled this on December 30th. It was just then leaked out to traditional media and Twitter 2 days ago. So this didn't happen overnight, right? And those first couple of days in January, we were well over 100,000. So I think this is just kind of a made up narrative to kind of try to fleece you or to flush out excess liquidity before Trump comes in. So this was a big narrative that was scaring a lot of people into selling. The other big thing is the Fed released their minutes on Wednesday, right? The day that I'm filming this is Thursday. The Fed released their FOMC minutes yesterday, and they pretty much told us that quantitative tightening is going to continue until June. And that's tough because about, before Wednesday, we thought quantitative tightening was going to end in May. So pushing it back a couple, weeks. Some people are not super jazzed about that. The other big thing that people are kind of sweating is tomorrow, the unemployment rate comes out, right? And a lot of people are going to be tracking this, like a lot of people. We talked about this in my video yesterday, which I will link on the end screen because I think there's a lot of good info in there. The expected unemployment rate that's getting released tomorrow is 4.2%. Most predictions are in 4.2 or 4.3. If there's one person, Citigroup, they're projecting 4.4. We're just going to have to wait and see, right? Here is the take home for the unemployment rate. If the unemployment rate remains relatively unchanged, or put differently, it's 4.2 or below, Bitcoin will respond well. If the unemployment rate is 4.4 or higher, like Citigroup's projecting, it's going to be really bad for risk assets and they're going to sell off. Not just Bitcoin, the Russell, the SPY. It won't be good for those markets. Speaking of traditional markets, they weren't open today because of Carter's funeral. They're celebrating his life. So markets are going to open up tomorrow, and Bitcoin obviously has a high correlation with traditional markets. So we're going to be following all that. So I just kind of presented all this, potential FUD out here, right? We got longs getting liquidated. There's this rumor that we're going to sell our Bitcoin. And then obviously big unemployment data is coming out tomorrow. Should you be concerned with all this quote unquote FUD, right? Should you be concerned? I really don't think you should. And here's why. I'm going to build a little bit of a thesis. Follow me here because I think this is important. Even if the US sold all of their Bitcoin, if they rushed it through, they sold it all within the next 11 days before Trump takes office on January 20th, even if they somehow, which there's a very low probability that they would do this, they were able to sell all of their Bitcoin, which equals $6.5 billion, we'd still hold over an additional $12 billion in Bitcoin, right? We hold right now over $18.5 billion in Bitcoin. Again, it's going to be next to impossible to sell all of our 69,000 Bitcoin that has an evaluation of 6.5 billion. There's no way it's going to happen. But even if they do, we still have a ton of Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Benjamin Cohen makes a really good argument here. This is not new. In the past 2 post-halving years, which is 2017 and 2021, we're currently in a post-halving year, 2025. The past 2 Januaries in post-halving years, we had pullbacks, right? And if you look at this here, this is January 2017, pretty significant pullback. And if I'm not mistaken, that was a 20 or 30% pullback. And guess what? It's not new. The same thing happened January 21. Look at this big pullback that we had right here before eventually going higher Q1 of 2021. I actually don't think this is a whole lot different between January 2021 and what's happening here, right? If you see, we had a really big run up right here. Just like we've had a really big run up here, we might be having a small pullback right here, kind of like we had here. But when you zoom out, if we were to continue to keep going like we did in prior post-halving years in January, it really wouldn't be a big cause of concern because there's still a lot of juice left to squeeze. So Benjamin Cohen really just says, probably worthwhile to be mentally prepared for this outcome. I'm actually part of his premium private Telegram group. Spend over $100 a month on it, and there's a lot of good info in there. If you can afford it, I'd recommend it, or you can just sub to me and I'll try to get you as much of this information as I can. So should we be concerned with all this quote unquote FUD floating around? Not overly concerned about it because I don't think we're going to be able to sell all of our Bitcoin holdings. And this isn't new. We always get a pullback January of the post-halving year. The other thing is, we only have 11 more days until Gary Gensler is officially out of the out of the SEC. We all know Gary has been a kind of a pretty big chaotic force in hurting crypto. So with the new administration coming on, the entire cabinet is very, very pro crypto. We've actually never had a more pro crypto Congress than we have now. So the stage is being set, right? Everything's aligning. Gary Gensler's being out, pro crypto Congress, pro crypto president. Things are lining up. The other big thing is this was a survey that went out by Bitwise. They're one of the bigger Bitcoin ETFs. They put out surveys to all of their financial investors, and they're saying 56% of advisors are more likely to invest in Bitcoin in 2025, specifically because Trump won the election. Now, let's just think about this right now. This is saying 56% of advisors are more likely to invest in Bitcoin in 2025. Well, guess what? In 2024, the biggest ETF launch in history was the Bitcoin ETF. So we already had a rockstar 2024, and now we're lining up for an even better 2025. Yes, there are going to be pullbacks within the market. You kind of just need to stomach these though, right? Look, we have a pullback here, 20, 30%, 20, 30% pullback here, 20 to 30% pullback here, 20 to 30% pullback here. Guys, if you were to panic sell on every one of these mini dumps, you would never make it to the peak of the bull market, right? So this is where you really, when you're buying crypto, you need to have conviction in what you're buying because you need to be able to weather these types of storms. Really thought this was good. So this is from Polymarket. Yes, the same Polymarket that predicted President-elect Trump to win in November. They are saying there is only a 20% chance that the government sells their Bitcoin before Trump is inaugurated, right, on January 20th. They're saying 2019, right, because he's going in the next day. Very, very low probability that the U.S. sells their Bitcoin. Polymarket, very, very accurate. They predicted the presidential election. They did an awesome job on Congress and Senate too. I feel good about this. And guess what? The percentage is continuing to go down. It's 12% down week over week. So I think we're in a good spot there. The other thing is I wanted to kind of end on these last two slides. Trump has financial advisors changing their tune on crypto, right? So we talked about the surveys that go out. This is kind of referencing that other tweet. Way more financial advisors are more likely to invest in crypto specifically because President Trump won. So that's actually like really important. Look at this. Nearly 99% of those who made allocations for clients plan to hold or increase their crypto allocation, right? And this is published on Axios today. This isn't like an old article, right? 8 hours ago. So I think that in and of itself is bullish. The last thing is, right, Bitcoin, it's been down 8 grand since yesterday. A couple days ago, we we're at 102. We hit 91 this morning, but guess what? There's an 82% chance that we hit an all-time high by June 30th, right? This summer. It's January right now, guys. This is right around the corner. This is just a few short months. And let me ask you this. This seems like an outsized return to me. There's an 82% chance that we hit all-time highs. Just weather the storm. This is me on YouTube, Invest with Doc. If you guys got any value out of this, consider subscribing. The other thing that I want to mention before I go here is I'm going to be starting a free Discord. Yes, free. I have nothing to sell you. We're going to be creating an awesome community in there. Keep a lookout for the link. I'll be talking about it in my next few videos. The other thing is, let me know below. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm off the mark? Do you think Bitcoin will hit a new all-time high by June 30th? And do you think President Trump, this is bullish? Are you guys panicked at selling? Let me know down in the comments. I read them all, and I'll see you guys on my next video.